Welcome to the Community Table, where we explore the secrets to success of the top real estate producers in our local market. A real conversation, hosted by Community Mortgage.
Hey, this is Jason Woods over at Community Mortgage at the Community Table, and we have a guy here. If you don't know this guy's been in real estate for almost 20 years, I believe, and if you don't know him, you need to get to know him, and that's why we're here today. Thanks for being with us, Eric.
Thanks, Jason. Good to be here.
All right, man. So what we want to do is I'm going to jump right in, get to an easy one. How do you differentiate a average producer from a top elite producer like yourself?
Oh my, to lump me into the top producer thing is intimidating. But I think that, so I have like a little rubric for that, but there is a certain grittiness about top producers. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if you talk to top producers in this profession, and maybe it's the same thing for sales in general, but there's two things. One, a certain grittiness about them. They're just going to make it happen.
Right.
And then this is my favorite part. They believe they can find opportunities in any market, an up market or a down market. And I feel like that's kind of what sets them apart, because I remember back in, can I wax in just a teeny tiny story on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in 2007, I went to my office neighbor who was next door, and he's an NFL football player, great guy, Jeff Moore, if anyone knows him. And I was like, wah, I'm not making any money, poor me. And he was like, no, that's not the right mindset. You've got to be able to say, hey, if it's a down market, there's opportunity, and you just have to go find it.
Right.
And anyway, that's just a little tidbit about how I think, the differentiation, I guess.
Yeah. So you came here to get into commercial real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that story. And how long you been here?
So in December of 2003,
okay,
I was sitting in the parking lot of the Crye-Leike headquarters building on Quail Hollow on a rainy December day, asking myself, what in the world did I just do? Because I just said yes to entering a profession that I did not know very much about. And also, I had never sold a thing, like even Boy Scout popcorn, nothing.
You weren't a salesman.
No,
and
nothing.
You were getting into commercial real estate.
Right. And so, but I really believe in, this, in seeing open doors that kind of get presented to us. And this was an open door. And I felt like I need to take this step for my family. And we were living out on the East Coast, away from parents, and we had parents here. And so we brought our little brood to Memphis in January of 2004. So that was December of 2003. January of 2004, we moved here. And yeah, so it's been that long.
Okay. I mean, you started your career in real estate in the commercial.
Yes.
Is that what brought you to Memphis, you said?
It is. Yeah.
So what brought you here? Like,
it was just being closer to family, and this opportunity presented itself with, hey, someone said, hey, I know a guy in commercial real estate. Just go talk to him. And so I did. And one thing led to another, and he said, no, you should. And he tried to talk me out of it twice. He said, no, you're living in Delaware. You didn't go to the local high schools that everybody, did you go to this high school?
You don't know anybody here. How are you going to sell
did
real
not.
estate? Right.
And it was with fear and trepidation that I said, please give me a job.
Right. So you've been here since 2004
mm-hmm.
and been working real estate commercially, but I hear you've stepped into a new role. What is this?
So new role as of November of 25, had been managing Crye-Leike's commercial real estate division here in Memphis, and our general manager of Crye-Leike, Steve Brown, wonderful gentleman, and my mentor decided it was time to make a change personally for his own, in his life. And so although he's still at Crye-Leike, I stepped into his role as general manager, and then that's where I am now. And
tell me a little bit about that. What are you doing?
So breaking it down to the most basic sense for me, it's that I had 15 commercial real estate brokers, and now I have 15 managers.
Okay. So you just manage the managers, not the 1,000 that are in Memphis.
So they represent 700 agents.
Okay, 700.
But the way I look at it is they are top-notch, A+ managers that I really look. They ultimately are responsible. They're the brokers over those licensees, over those agents. And although I guess technically I am general manager over the 700, I look at it as having now 15 friends to encourage and help and
that's great.
All that.
So what do you think the biggest mindset shift was or is managing those commercial agents versus your residential managers? Like, because I'm assuming there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because commercial is this and residential is completely different, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Some similarities and some differences. Similarities is real estate, right? And differences are there's a whole lot more residential real estate than commercial real estate, right? So the market's bigger. There's a ton more houses, right, than there are commercial properties. The other differences are that the real estate itself, you kind of know what people do in houses, right? Mm-hmm. You sleep, you put food down the disposal, and there's a front door and a back door, and so it's a large market, but it's very well defined. Mm-hmm. Commercial is very custom. Everything, who knows what this building even used to be back in the day. And so, but they're real estate agents that are selling a product that are meeting the needs of customers. And there's just a whole lot more of them now that I'm working with. And
because residential is, I think, more of emotional buy, right? Versus commercial, where it's more business. It's got to make sense, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think at the consumer level, there is this has got to feel right. And, I get that. It's got to be the right fit. Whereas maybe before it was, hey, does this building have the 30,000 square feet we're looking for in the loading dock door? Mm-hmm. Good, let's roll, Yeah. But yeah, at the consumer level, right at the customer transactional level, yeah, it is different. There's a different component.
Mm-hmm. Well, what does leadership look like for you in 2026? How are you showing up differently in that commercial role versus residential? What advice can you give to other leaders out there at different agencies?
Yeah. So I think now that I'm, part of my job is really identifying talent, I think in the, both as leaders, but also growing our brand and keeping it ear to the ground on the best talent that's out there. Because I'm telling you one thing, you touched on it, like what does leadership look like? My passion now in this new role is, I don't think we talk about winning enough, like mm-hmm. just maybe even as a culture, but as a company, I think everything we do, needs to have this umbrella over, but we want to win, right? And so, we have core value. I'm digressing for a minute, kind of just for a second. we have core values, right? And one of them is passion or diversity or responsiveness. Those all have to roll up under winning.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, wait, what about diversity? No, what I'm talking about is to win in diversity, we have to be known as the most welcoming company on the planet, right? That's winning in diversity. Yeah. Passion. We've got to be passionate off the chain about what we do. And, responsive, extremely, so anyway, you go down. So to answer your question, what does leadership look like for me? It's conveying some of these things that are just need to be in the water. And then the message to other people that are aspiring to leadership, one, I think having a faithful track record is so important, mm-hmm. right? If we were hiring right now a new person to come work at your firm or our firm, it would be, we want to look at their track record and see a faithful track record of serving in where they're at.
Right.
And then obviously knowledge and skill and production and doing well. And so lastly, on that point, if you look around and you see somebody already serving others or mentoring others without needing to have the credit, to me, that's like,
that's a win.
That's a win. And that's someone I want to talk to and love to talk to. I thought Harry Truman's, quote, and just resonates with me that when he said, we can do whatever we want to in the whole world or something like that if we don't care who gets the credit. And if you see somebody that's mentoring someone right now, mm-hmm. those are the people I feel like we need to reach out to. And
right.
So
that's great. Well, I know Crye-Leike is one of the largest agencies here in the Mid-South. Is that right? Is that because of volume? Is that because of how many agents you guys have? Like, what sets Crye-Leike apart from all these other agencies, or how did they get so large?
Yeah, so Crye-Leike is fifth largest, privately held real estate firm in the U.S.
Wow.
So that differentiates it from, of course, the publicly held companies.
Right.
But, and, with here in the Memphis area, just dominant market share, and not only by transactions and listings, but also numbers of agents. And so, yeah.
How long have they been in?
1977.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're 23, 24 years in at this point?
Yeah.
Since 04, I guess? Those 22 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stepping into the general manager role now at Crye-Leike, I know you had emotions. What kind of those came with it? Was it excitement? Was it pressure? Responsibility? I'm sure tons of responsibility now, right? Or
Great question.
Or was it a cakewalk?
Not a cakewalk. So, I still sell commercial real estate.
Okay.
So
you're able to do both. That's
that
awesome.
is, so you're catching me at this, I'm only 4 months in,
Mm-hmm.
and you're finding me at a moment of trying to strike that balance
Right.
of that work balance. I'm not
Right.
saying work-life balance. I'm saying two different roles. And, but here's two things to answer your question more directly. It's given me an opportunity to work with commercial clients that I just absolutely adore and love, and projects I love. What does that mean? Well, maybe I'm not going to take on as many of the smaller projects anymore and just focus on projects that are super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then find a balance with the management, which is actually the larger piece for me now. And the emotions that came along with it were just really, honestly, gratitude, I would say, would be, and when I mean gratitude, yes, gratitude to Harold Crye for the opportunity, but it's also to the 700 agents that I get to work with that, frankly, if you think about it, a lot of them have been doing what they're doing longer than some physicians that are board certified.
Right.
And so what an honor, to work with those people and have the opportunity just to be in their space and say, hey, I just want to. So it's humbling because it makes me say, I just want to be helpful and an encouragement to them with whatever their needs are to help them be the best they can be. So
Right. Well, that's good. Is there one challenge you didn't expect stepping into that role, and how you're handling it?
the challenge of stepping into the role has been, that is a good question I have to ponder. I'd say I really do want everyone to be thrilled all the time, right? I mean, like, if that can't happen, I'm like, oh, it pains me. And so I think the challenge of in the role is, sometimes some directions or decisions that, I now have to make are not everybody's going to be thrilled all the time.
Right.
And so
Right.
just coming
Always trying to make people happy. And
Yeah.
Of course, someone's not ever going to be happy about something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In sales, I feel like that's what, got to
Sales
make
is
the
up and
customer
down
happy.
every single day.
That's right.
One day you're on top of the world. The next day you want to jump off a bridge
That's
because
right.
you lost a deal and is the biggest deal of your life, right?
Yep.
So those are always tough. So, all right, on a personal note, I want to know about your family. I know you have spouse, kids in the military. Tell me about that real quick.
Yeah. So we moved here with just a couple kids, and then we now have 5. They're grown. Oldest one is 26.
Okay.
Man, I'm hoping I'm right about. No, 25.
I can't remember the age of mine either. So
Yeah. And because we were married 26 years ago, so that's my math. And Army captain, and we'll soon be moving to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
To be a part of the 9/11 unit, which protects the Capitol.
Yep.
And then the second one down is in education space and married to a Marine in Okinawa, Japan. And next one down is 82nd Airborne paratrooper. And currently in Louisiana, getting ready to go dark for a couple weeks in training. And then next one down is a Razorback.
In college.
Blue Pig Suey.
Okay.
Yes, in college, sophomore. And the next one down is an ECS sophomore Soccer goalie.
That's the one you do competitive soccer with, right?
Yes.
Always traveling around. So
Yep.
5 kids.
Yeah.
Is that tough?
It was tough.
Was tough?
It was tougher, right? When they have diapers and the whole thing. But I think as they graduate, they become more friends of ours. As you know, your kids are.
I've said that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
When they leave and then they come back and they want to be your friend versus you having to get on to them or you're having to tell them to pick up their
Yeah.
socks or their shoes out or whatever, they're a lot more fun.
That's right. And
They're
that's
a lot
kind
more
of
fun
what-
as they get older.
Yeah.
Any grandbabies yet?
No grandbabies.
All right.
We are anticipating some, but we currently are low in that department.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids are growing.
That's right.
They'll come soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Your wife's also in commercial real estate,
She
correct?
is.
Okay.
Yeah, we
so
work
you guys
together.
partners on that?
We are. She loves working with buyers and tenants.
Okay. That's Joanna, right?
That's Joanna,
Okay.
and she is great at that, and she loves shopping for people. So
What woman doesn't like shopping?
You know,
Right.
Perfect match. And she's been able to take a load off of my commercial real estate
That's
practice on.
so nice for you to be able to do the new role,
That's right.
and you guys can kind of do that one together.
Yep.
That's awesome. Eric, I love that you're a family man. I'm the same way. So, let's circle back to how you got into this role. Like, I think we talked about the commercial side, you moving into the residential side, but why is it that Crye-Leike chose you to run this position? Like, what got you there? I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So came in 2004, and then just working as an agent, did not aspire to anything else except for managing the commercial branch. When that opportunity presented itself, I thought, okay, I'm going to retire doing this because I just absolutely love running a division or managing a division. I feel like a coach, like, go team, let's roll.
Right. Isn't that really what a manager is?
Yeah, we're good.
Or a leader?
Absolutely, sure.
There's managers, leaders.
But during my, call it, first 20 years here with Crye-Leike, for whatever reason, I found my family also with all the residential agents, all the population of all the agents. And so, like you, I mean, you're a member of our household, so to speak, within the company. And it's by spending a lot of time with all of the people in the company, not just our little division.
Right.
And so I kind of made it a point to be very involved at MAR and served on every committee, was the chairman of most committees. And
We served many years together.
That's right.
You guys were there, and I was their affiliate.
Yeah, on the affiliate council. And then on the board, I was a board member for 2 different elected times. And so to answer your question, I don't know all the decisions that brought me to where I am now in this role, but I will say that my consideration for the last 20 years has been much broader than the 4 walls of our department or our division.
Right.
So to just make the Crye-Leike family my family. So
Okay. Well, is there one thing that you talk about when you go around all your offices to your agents? Like, what message are you pushing versus the last person that was in your place?
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely.
How are you encouraging them in this market,
Yeah.
which is tough?
There's a book that was written that by a gentleman named Louis Gershner. I'm sure you've read it.
Sure.
But so he wrote a book called Who Says Elephants Can't Dance? Elephants meaning IBM. And for those of us that are really old like us, we remember when IBM was this massive company.
Mainframe, yeah.
And his book is all about the turnaround in a very difficult space of a company that was up against major headwinds. And he makes the most brilliant statement in there that says after all of his analysis, all of his study and working with this massive company in the turnaround, he said, I've concluded that no single company has a corner on some secret that they're just manipulating. He said, it's all about daily execution day in and day out. And then this is the line that I love, which I'll end up botching, but he says, and the constant hand-to-hand combat of competition. And so my message for our agents is that just rings true. That there's not going to be a magic bullet, but there is going to be a grind and a daily competition that we want to be in the water. That's what we do. We're going to grind and we're going to win. So that's part A. Part B is we all got done watching the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And the winningest country was
Finland.
Norway. Norway's model with their athletes for the first 13 years of their life when they're little kids, you know what it is? To have fun. Literally to have fun. Like, they're not allowed to keep score by law in competitive sports until they're 13. Because they're focused on these kids having fun and
learning the game.
They're learning the game. They're having a blast. And, I think about the people that I want to work with are the people that are having a blast.
Right.
When you're having a blast and having fun, I want to get my loan from Jason Woods because you just seem like you're having a blast all the time.
Right.
If you've seen those clips or YouTube videos with, you see an airplane and you look out the window and there's the guy with like the like ear muffs on and the two stick things.
The glow-on things, yeah.
And he's like, just having a blast out there. And you're like, I could work with that guy.
Right.
I want to leave my job and I want to go work with this dude that's out here like waving the planes in.
Right.
Because he's having so much fun. And so what I want for our agents and what I want to, if it starts this revolution, I would not be surprised because I think that it has the earmarks that it should, that if you are having a blast, if an entire company is having a blast, people are going to want to work with them.
Right.
And when I ask an agent, hey, how's the market? And if they say good, oh man, it's awesome. You know what I'd be thinking? Oh, they're making too much money, right? If I'm the public.
Right.
And if I say, hey, how's the market? And like, oh, it's not very good. It's terrible. Well, then maybe they're not very good.
Right.
Right. But if they say, you know what, I am absolutely just having a blast. I'm going to be like, well, then you're my guy. You're my girl.
Right.
So.
That's awesome. Well, if there was one piece of advice that you could give anyone that's trying to grow into leadership, what would it be?
I would say be faithful where you're at, exactly where God has you right now, whatever that is, and mentor someone. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing that, and you're doing that day in and day out without desire for credit or notoriety or anything, you are already a leader.
Right.
And you're the type of people.
Others will see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Can I add one more thing? Because I'm sensing we're wrapping up. I don't know if we are, but before we conclude, I do want to say one more thing. Okay.
Go ahead.
Back in the day, which would have been, I don't know, 2019 maybe. And I'm sure you remember this. Community Mortgage was my lender on my home. And I
do remember.
It's such an easy thing. And when you said, hey, would you come on my podcast? I was like, of course, because, and I'm not kidding. If you weren't my lender, I couldn't say this. I'd be like, sure, I'll come on your podcast, but I don't know what I'm going to say.
Right.
But it was an amazing experience. And
awesome.
So I, with pride, was able to say yes because I have personal experience. And it's not from anything recent either. It goes way back.
A while back.
It was a long time ago. You were a young man.
Yeah, I had a little less gray. Yeah. We both did, maybe. Maybe
so. But anyway, thank you. And I just wanted to
appreciate that, Eric.
I wanted to put that out there.
I really appreciate that. I think you're going to do great at your new role. Is there anything that you want to say to anybody, or one thing that you want to leave for folks, that one great takeaway that you can give them a nugget out there and just say?
I'm telling you what, and this sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but I mean it. And I really do mean it. If wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have fun.
That's awesome. And then one last thing. How do folks get a hold of you? I know you still want to sell real estate. That's where you make your real dollars. Tell them how. Give me your name. Just name and email and phone number.
EricFurman.com. And they threw an H in Furman, and it's crazy where it lands because people don't know how to spell it, but there is an H in there. And but anyway, EricFurman.com, and that's the best way to find all my contact information.
Look you up on Instagram. I know you're there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, like I said, people, if you do not know this guy, he is a great guy to know. Thank you for joining us at the community table. We'll see you next time.